Hello and welcome to episode 161 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three continents share in one love, and that is video games. On this week's episode, we're discussing the creative shakeup on HBO's The Last of Us, another round of layoffs at Xbox, and we're going to build our dream Animal Crossing game. But before all that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Lauren Rouse. I am one of the co-hosts here on Controller Club, and I'm here with my friend from across the pond, the digital art daredevil, Tom Drew. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind week. I've seen Sabrina Carpenter this week. I've seen Biba Doobie. I've seen Claro. I've also seen Hideo Kojima, which I'll talk about later in the show. And maybe some other celebrity guests as well, which is kind of crazy. So it's been kind of a star-studded lineup of like people coming into my life and being in the same room as people, and it feels a bit surreal. But it's nice to be on this, bit more down to earth here, and yeah, just excited to talk about what we got lined up on the show.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have Kojima on the show, but we're now like 2 degrees of separation away, so that's exciting. He's like,
Exactly.
it's almost as good as him being on here as you having been in the same room as him.
That's the thing. And, Jeff Keighley was also in the room. So, like, I mean, I didn't get to talk to him, but maybe there's a pathway to us appearing at the Game Awards, like, later down the line. I don't know. It's, anything's possible at this point. The whiteboard is open for us to chart our course. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
we're
not a
starting
good
to get
analogy,
into
but
the rooms where it happens. That's very
exactly.
exciting.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we've got a pretty big show today. So we'll get straight into it. Do you want to give us the news jingle, Tom?
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's start with your news story this week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a downer week, to be honest, in the world of video games. So we're just gonna rip the band-aid off. I'm talking about the Xbox layoffs, studio shutdowns, and also Banjo Kazooie for some reason. And this all comes from Andy Robinson at Video Game Chronicle. Xbox has cancelled its Perfect Dark reboot and closed its developer. It has been confirmed. In a statement, Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty said the decisions, quote, reflect a broader effort to adjust priorities and focus resources to set up our teams for greater success within a changing industry landscape, end quote. Santa Monica, California-based, the initiative was established in 2018 by former Crystal Dynamics boss Daryl Gallagher, along with a host of veteran developers. Perfect Dark was to be the studio's first title. Xbox finally showed gameplay for the Perfect Dark reboot last summer, 4 years after its announcement. According to reports, the game has been through a challenging development. VGC reported in March 2022 that the Xbox studio had seen a, quote, fast and furious, end quote, wave of senior departures over the previous year. In a company-wide email announcing the initiative's closure, Microsoft also confirmed the cancellation of Res Everwild, which VGC exclusively reported previously. Microsoft confirmed a significant wave of layoffs on Wednesday, which could reportedly see as much as 4%, or roughly 9,100 of the company's total employees, across all departments, including gaming, affected. Quote, we continue to implement organizational and workforce changes that are necessary to position the company and teams for success in a dynamic marketplace, end quote. Microsoft's spokesperson said. In a message sent to all staff, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, stated that the cuts were designed to, quote, end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness, end quote. And Andy Robertson also said, I think on a podcast, and this is via quite aptly named Bring Back Banjo on Twitter, and Robinson said, quote, and I heard more recently that pitches are being listened to regarding Banjo-Kazooie. I heard constantly the name that comes up is Toys for Bob, who really want to do one. Funnily enough, I heard Moon Studios as well, who did Ori and the Blind Forest. Another one that's really interested, there's always talks about interest in a cartoon or a movie, end quote. Yeah, so I think we are all pretty shocked, but also I don't know. It's a lot of mix of emotions with this news story. I feel like coming this week. Um, I don't know how much we have to say about this because again, it's another round of layoffs, more studio closures. But Lauren, what did you make of this when you saw it, and what do you think is going on at Microsoft?
Yeah, it's really another big blow for the industry. I'm just questioning like how many staff are left at Microsoft. Like 9,000 people is a lot of people. I know it's a big company. It's a big global company, but yeah, the numbers are just like really hard to comprehend at this point, and it's really disappointing to see games that were so far into development be shelved before they really had even a chance to be finished. Like, I was really looking forward to playing Perfect Dark. That trailer really hooked me, the one that we saw. And I obviously it's been through a bit of a development process, but that doesn't mean that the final product won't be good. You know, like some games have smooth development processes and then the final product is no good, and then it happens in reverse as well. So I think it's frustrating that these games will possibly never see the light of day. I think I heard some talk about them trying to like get picked up elsewhere or get funding elsewhere, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen or if that works the same in the video game industry as it does in like Hollywood. But yeah, it's just like we've seen it before, and frustratingly too many times, but it does still feel hard when it happens. So yeah, my heart goes out to all these people who have lost their jobs.
Yeah, it's just tough. Like, it makes me sad to see that, like, Microsoft makes all these acquisitions and then, the end like ends up just deciding to like close all these things that they ended up acquiring without anything like to show for it. Like, yeah, I was excited for the Perfect Dark thing reboot as well. Like, it was the game from the Xbox showcase that year that like got me the most excited, and the fact that we're probably not going to get it is really like upsetting. And it's like for all these people's hard work just to like fade into nothingness essentially is just it's just really sad.
Mm.
Everwild as well, like that's been in development for ages, and like we've seen a couple trailers here and there, but now that's just fallen by the wayside, um, which sucks. I mean, the only hope, and I don't know if this can happen, how this could happen, but my one hope is that something like a Toys for Bob situation could, like spin off of the layoffs here, and the studios can survive in some form. But then like I just don't see how. I just don't, the way that it seems that they were going about it. I don't see why they would want to give up the IP. But then again, it's like, but then if you're not going to do anything with like Perfect Dark, then what is the point at this
Yeah,
point? Yeah, it's just frustrating. I do hope we see this stuff again, but it's not looking good.
I've seen a lot of people blaming Game Pass for this, and we've talked about this at length on the pod before about like what Xbox's strategy is in general and whether it's working. And I think personally, as a gamer, I really like Xbox Game Pass. I really enjoy, as someone who doesn't really have the back catalog of Xbox games, I like that I can just pay for a month and play as long as I need to and not have to invest all this money into things. But at the same time, I respect that that may not be filtering back to the a profitable way for the studios, and the people who are making the games, because kind of how can it? Like, is it?
Yeah,
I don't even know how it works. Like, do you download the game and then that company knows how many downloads it got, and then that's how much money they get
yeah,
that month? Like, I don't even know. But like, I can see how kind of like the Spotify thing, right? Like, how do the residuals and the royalties work? Like, or the licensing. I'm not sure if it's like sustainable for the workflow as it is kind of like a perk for the consumer.
that's the thing. Like, it's been a big gamble for them these past couple of years, and like from this, it doesn't seem like it's paying off. But then again, like I'm pretty sure like year on year, Xbox is still turning a profit, and like Microsoft's still turning a profit. And that's probably partially because they do these layoffs so they can like boost those numbers. But like I, I don't know what else you can do here. And I think that the thing with Banjo is like, and the reason I brought this up is like, obviously, like I love that first game. Banjo Kazooie is like amazing. And I'd love to see another game in the franchise, but like I just don't know if I like trust that it would actually happen. Like if this, we come to next year's Summer Games Fest, for example, Xbox has a showcase. We see the logo for Banjo, and then we don't hear for a while. There's no like guarantee anymore that we actually do see it. I know we've seen it with Warner Brothers as well, and like all these games, it just makes everything is so like up in the air. Like there doesn't seem like there's any kind of stability with a lot of these things anymore, um, which is just really like upsetting because it makes it hard to get excited for a lot of these things because they're no longer known quantities anymore.
Okay, so with the Banjo and Kazooie stuff, I'm curious, how come this has come up out of the layoffs? Like, is there a reason that it's coming up now?
I don't know. I think like honestly, I think it's just maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it is because like Microsoft is like looking at where their priorities are. It's just weird to me that like they would look at I mean Robinson says that like there's always been talks about interest in a cartoon or a movie. So maybe there's always been interest in a game, but like maybe it's Microsoft looking at their things like, okay, maybe Perfect Dark isn't gonna hit the way we want it to. Maybe Everwild isn't, but maybe Banjo could be the one. So maybe that's why the talk's coming back. But like, yeah, I think it is like strange timing for this news to like suddenly come out. Especially because
Mm,
we kind of still don't really know what Toys for Bob is doing right now. And it has
yeah.
been a while, since they kind of spun off from Microsoft. So yeah, I'm not really sure.
It wouldn't surprise me if out of all of this, Microsoft is going back to the drawing board, being like, we need to prioritize our big selling franchises over new ideas, which is awful for creativity in the gaming industry and originality. But I think this is kind of like a broader thing that I'm noticing in all facets of entertainment, where, like, movie studios will only kind of give big budgets to franchise IP and things like that. Which means like that we're getting remakes and reboots and sequels, and that's all we're getting. And I kind of can see it going in a similar direction in the gaming industry. Like we saw Concord didn't really have a leg to stand on when it launched because no one really knew what it was, and people didn't seem to really have maybe time for things that they don't know about. Which is unfortunate. Like there are rare cases, of course, where that is not the case, but I do think maybe particularly like Microsoft being an American company is maybe looking at what is happening in like Hollywood and things like that, and also going like we need to prioritize IP, which is why Banjo and Kazooie is maybe coming back into the conversation, because I imagine that they're looking over at Nintendo with their Super Mario movie and going like, damn, we want a piece of that. Let's commission a Banjo and Kazooie movie. But for that to happen, because it's such an old IP, they probably do need a bit of a new game to refresh the idea in people's minds and to like have a bit
Hmm.
of that brand synergy. So it wouldn't surprise me if there is a new Banjo Kazooie game finally happening. And I think Toys for Bob would like honestly be the perfect place for that.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to choose a developer, like I think they would do an amazing job. I mean, I like Moon Studios as well. I think is a good choice. I know they've only done like they did obviously Ori, which is 2D, and then that I think it's No Rest for the Wicked, which is like complete departure. But I think just like art style wise, I think they could do something really interesting with Banjo. But yeah, Toys for Bob would be amazing. Yeah, I guess yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think like especially with yeah, we just recently saw with Astrobot like 3D platformers can
Yeah.
like do really well and be like really amazing experiences, and people respond to it. So maybe that's one of the things where I feel like with Perfect Dark, like obviously that is also
Yeah.
a franchise, but I think there's more work that needs to be done almost to kind of bring that like kind of gameplay standard up to modern
Mm,
standards essentially. With Banjo obviously like there's things like the Astrobot does like crazy creative stuff with it, and you would obviously hope for that with Banjo Kazooie too, but at the end of the day it is still like a 3D platformer, so there is that kind of basis of like this is what you kind of you know what to expect, and the jump between that to now is I think less so than what I think the Perfect Dark remake was kind of going for. Maybe that kind of um the ambition and like the what was needed to get that game over the finish line maybe in Xbox's eyes didn't justify, you know, seeing it to completion, which is really sad because like um it deserved to do that, but yeah, yeah, it just sucks. Like I would obviously love both of these Xbox franchises to flourish, but like I said, in this landscape, I don't know how possible it is anymore.
yeah, I really don't know what's going on over there, what the future of that company is going to look like in the gaming space. Like, it's concerning, to be honest. I just wanted to point out, I read this article during the week in the wake of all of this happening, on PC Gamer, that I would like to direct everyone to. It's called 20 Foolproof Ways to Get Laid Off in the Video Game Industry. It's a great read, because, yeah, I think that these developers are not in the wrong at all, as usually most people who are made redundant aren't.
No.
But it is just kind of like perfectly encaptured I think what a lot of us are feeling about this whole situation. So go check that out on PC Gamer.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a read. I mean, yeah, like this is the thing. Like, you make a great game and it sells well, you get closed. You make a game that doesn't do great, or you get closed. Like, it just doesn't.
There's no
A lot
rhyme
of
or
it just doesn't
reason.
make exactly. So I don't know. It's so confusing. Girls so confusing. Xbox so confusing.
All right, let's move on to our second news story, which is another departure, but not quite the same. It's been a bit of a shake-up over at HBO's The Last of Us this week. As the listeners would know, we're big fans of HBO's The Last of Us. We reviewed every episode on the show of season 1 and 2. We had plenty of thoughts, so you can go back into our archive and listen to those if you would like. But yeah, we're obviously following season 3 quite closely, and some big news came out this week that Neil Druckmann and Halley have departed the show as creatives. I believe Neil is staying on board as a producer, but yeah, Neil and Halley were the writers of The Last of Us Part 2. Neil is the director of both games. He's the studio head at Naughty Dog, so he's a big deal. But I'll read the story. It's from Katie Campioni at Deadline, who said, "There is a big creative shakeup happening on HBO's The Last of Us as season 3 gets underway. Neil Druckmann, who co-created and directed the Naughty Dog video games for Sony PlayStation, has been quite hands-on throughout the first 2 seasons of the TV adaptation, will take a step back from the series creatively for season 3. Druckmann will not write or direct any season 3 episodes. He will continue to serve as a co-creator and executive producer." And he released this statement, which reads, quote, "I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO. With work completed on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our next exciting game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful of the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and their continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2." End quote. In addition to Druckmann, executive producer and writer Halley Gross will also be exiting the series. Gross, who co-wrote The Last of Us Part 2 and was involved in the second season of the adaptation, announced she would be stepping back from her day-to-day duties on the series to, quote, "make space for what comes next," end quote, via a social media statement shortly after the news of Druckmann's departure broke. So this was news, and it's definitely been a big topic of discussion. I know a lot of people have messaged me, knowing that I care a lot about the show. They've messaged me being like, "What does this mean? What do you think it means? Like, what's going on over there?" So, firstly, Tom, how do you feel about this change? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? Is it something to worry about?
I honestly, when I saw this headline, I instantly became very scared, like, of what was gonna happen with the show. I Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking a lot of different things about what this could mean. I think it was interesting, like, because we heard about Druckmann leaving initially, and we're like, okay, he's leaving, and then that makes sense with what he says about, like, he's leading Naughty Dog, like, so he has responsibilities there. But then the fact that Halle Gross is also departing,
Yep.
it's it is concerning in the fact that, like, I enjoyed parts of season 2. I had issues with it, and I worry whether those issues will continue going forward now with season 3. Um Especially because um what season 3 is adapting is like quite it's quite difficult, and it's also the most criticized part of the game, I would say. So uh to not have those kind of guiding hands with those who are very integral to part 2, um I'm just a bit concerned of, like, how this is going to be handled. But what do you think? What was your kind of initial reaction to this?
Yeah, I think quite similar. I don't love that Neil and Hallie are gone just because they obviously so deeply know The Last of Us Part 2. And were kind of, I think I don't even know what their writing room situation would have been like, but even just to be there to be guiding lights in this scenario, to share things with Craig that they might have, gone through already in their journey to create the story that he might be coming up against when he's trying to write it and that kind of stuff. Like, I imagine that they were a really good, like a really good guide to have along, and to sort of not have them there is a little bit concerning. I've heard, or I think I read in one of the outlet reports that there are still other writers on board this along with Craig. I think there's two others. So they have brought in other people to replace them. I don't know who they are, but I think one of them is from Naughty Dog. So that's a little bit reassuring. But I think it's become quite clear that the show is kind of Craig Mazin's show. It definitely, I think, became clear after season two. And that might just have to be what it is. Like, I don't think that it's impossible to turn around some of the mistakes, or not mistakes, like some of the choices they made in season two that perhaps we didn't like or agree with. But I think if they were to continue down the path that they're currently going with what they did in season two, like, I have reason to be concerned because, like, Abby's part of the story has to be handled really carefully. And it's not that I don't like trust them to do that without Neil and Halley, but like the risk goes up, I suppose. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of people questioning about whether the reasons in their statements are true. Of course, everyone loves a bit of drama. They're like, was there some creative differences behind the scenes? Was there a deeper reason for them leaving? I personally kind of want to take it on face value because I can totally understand that, like, yeah, Intergalactic is really probably ramping up right now. They're probably entering, crunch time in the next like 1 to 2 years. And I would totally respect that that's going to take all of Neil's attention. And I believe for Hallie's part, she's part of that game as well, is possibly working on other things, either at Naughty Dog or somewhere else, or like in Hollywood. Like, she's a working writer. So I could understand why like that might not be their priority. But you wonder, like, this is their baby. Like, if there was an option to be able to sit there and guide the hand, would you not want to take it? Or perhaps it's like some of the backlash to season two, they want to distance themselves. I'm not really sure. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's really confusing. Like, I think I'm of two minds of it. Like, the fact that they're both leaving either has me thinking like, well, maybe they couldn't. They looked at what the show was becoming, or where they saw the show going with season three, and they were like, we can't fix this. I guess, for lack of a better term. But then again, like, Neil is he's a co-creator. Like, he's executive producer. Like, he's very entangled in the show. I think he took a bit of a step back with season two, from what I can like tell, in
Hmm.
comparison to season one. But like, I just don't know if that fully adds up. The only other thing is like you said, Intergalactic's coming out. Um, a lot of people are wondering whether it's like, the fact that Halley Gross is also leaving, whether that means like they're germinating an idea for part three, and that's why they have to step away. Um, I mean, that could be possible. And again, like, that's totally understandable. Um, but yeah, it is just like a strange. It's just a strange thing to happen, and like you said, it does feel like Craig's show, and like, just I think it's interesting because, like, obviously, like, Halle Gross and Neil Druckmann were involved in season two, but but then some of the characterizations and choices they make do kind of run counter to what I feel like they were kind of portraying in the game, at least, or in part two. Um, and I wonder if that is a Craig decision, and maybe that's what led to this departure as well. So there's a lot of different things. Like, maybe it's the fact that they couldn't like wrangle it. But um, I don't know. As you can tell, I'm very conflicted on like what this thing. At the end of the day, I respect the decision. Like, I think
Yeah.
Neil has to do what he has to do. And like, I think for me, like, personally, I would rather him, be on Intergalactic and making sure that game is as good as it possibly can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does suck to hear.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I respect that this is their choice. I wondered if, they felt maybe from their point of view that like Craig's got a good handle on it now that he doesn't need them anymore.
Yeah,
And so they
yeah,
just trust him to go away with it. I wonder sometimes whether, he's the TV writer, right? Or he's like the screenwriter in film and TV. So perhaps they just trust his decisions in terms of adapting, and like they're like happy to be guided by that. And then obviously we've seen like maybe some of those decisions weren't the right ones in terms of how the story played in adaptation in season two. Um, but yeah, it could just be a case of like, well, he knows, better than us in this world, I guess. Or I do really think it might be like it's a time thing, and
Yeah,
at least I hope that's what it is, because I
yeah,
think if there were like creative difficulties or something behind the scenes, like we would have got a hint of it. Right? Like,
mm,
Neil and Craig both got like not matching tattoos, but they dared each other to get tattoos after season one. And like, so I think from what I can tell, and even through the press tour, like it seemed that they were amicable, but I guess you never really know.
yeah.
So I think if there was like some disagreements behind the scenes, we'd probably know about it. It could come down to even something financially. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, it's like you said. I mean, like, yeah, it could be the complete opposite. Like, it could be that they have, Craig has talked multiple times of like how their kind of overall season plan is like it seems like it's going to be like a 4 season plan from what they're kind of wanting to do, and maybe yeah, maybe Neil and Hallie were just like the thing we've mapped out like what the show will be if we can get to a season 4. We don't need to be involved anymore, and like Craig
Mm,
can has enough to work with that he can like get it over the finishing line. That's very
yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I believe Neil is staying on as an executive producer. So I don't know what that means for his involvement, but I'm sure that if there's an issue, Craig can call him up and ask him, and
yeah,
they can work through it. But yeah, I think it seems logical in my mind, but I can see where people's what like might be drumming up drama. I just don't have enough of a solid basis to believe that right now.
yeah. Especially when like things like I can't. I'm forgetting her name at the moment, but the lead of Intergalactic is in like
Oh,
season
Tati
2.
Gabriel.
Yeah, Tati Gabrielle, thank you. And so there's a lot of intertwining things that I feel like if there was like beef, there would be a couple more telltale signs from the rumor mill or whatever. But all this aside, like I still am a little bit worried about season 3. Like I I just don't I haven't been completely reassured based
Yeah.
on everything in season 2. I hope it is good, and like I think with the cast that they have going into season 3 and what the story they have to tell, it can be a really compelling season. But I definitely think there needs to be a little like I guess proving of being able to tell the rest of the story on screen.
Yeah, I think we were all a little concerned after seeing how season two went anyway. And
Yeah,
there was a lot of big things that need to happen in season three, but it's also kind of it's not like a fresh slate, but it is kind of a fresh character journey. And so you don't know if they're
yeah,
going to do it a similar, perhaps fumbling of Abby as they did with Ellie, but hopefully not. For our
yeah.
sakes, they can get it back on track in season three. But that's it for the news. So let's have that news outro, Tom.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
Awesome. So, our big topic for today is that we are going to be building our dream Animal Crossing game. Tom and I are both big fans of Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is the reason I got a Switch in the first place when I came in like 3 or 4 years late to its run. So, we're very excited, and there's been no announcement of a second Animal Crossing game. As the listeners would know, that's really what I want to buy a Nintendo Switch to, but I'm sure that it's coming. So, we've talked about what we would like to see in an Animal Crossing game on the show before. So to make it a little bit different, we thought we'd take a bit of a different approach. And we've built basically a like tier list of features that we want in an Animal Crossing sequel. Like this would be a direct sequel to New Horizons. So we can assume that it would have all those things and like perhaps some of these like features or fixes that we've suggested, and we've given them a dollar value. We've got them in a table which we will be like posting on socials and for the YouTube audience, and we have $15 to spend to build our dream game, and we have it across these 5 tiers of like $5, $4, $3, etc. So um, before we get into it, do you want to add anything, Tom?
I think you laid it out pretty well. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think yeah, we're both very excited for the next Animal Crossing. I think we really love New Horizons, and I think a lot of people also love New Horizons as well. But yeah, I think there are a couple of things that we wish were in the game or little fixes. And yeah, based on the dollar tier of these tiers, like there'll be either minor things that we would want adjusted with the game to like massive completely shaking up the formula with like a $5 like addition. So yeah, I'm just excited to get into it.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go through, so we've come up with this list together, just Tom and I, like throwing out things that we want to see, and then we've assigned them dollar values. So we might just go through like tier by tier what the features are that we've suggested, and maybe like talk them through in case there's any confusion. So we might alternate. I'll start with the $5 tier.
Mm,
So at the top we've got co-op play, which would be like basically allow you to build an island with your friends, or to have players come and like join your island and things like that, and play cooperatively. It's pretty self-explanatory. We have new biomes and environments for $5, so that would be essentially, yeah, like not just an island, like you could go to other different sort of
just like the
environments.
different, yeah, different environments. And my
Yeah.
kind of idea with it was like, because in New Horizons it's like, it's a tropical kind of island. There's different seasons obviously and that sort of thing, but
Mm.
I think it would be interesting if you could like choose, like, what if your like hypothetical island or your village or whatever is set in a desert, or if it's set on a volcano, or like, I think it'd just be interesting to like take the customizability to other kind of environments that haven't really been seen in the game, or even have been seen in the game, but kind of expanding what the locales and different areas you can like do with your island, make it more unique to what you want to see.
Yeah, perfect. Yep, so that would be very cool. Also on the $5 tier, we also have romance or friendship options. So this would be kind of, I suppose, leaning into the RPG elements, but perhaps not as hard as like, some of the other games do. I'm not sure if like romance is something that Nintendo would do, but definitely I think having like friendship options with your villagers and being able to actually have like an integrated way to like know where you stand with them and be able to build like relationships or neighborly relationships with them, I think would be really cool.
Mhm.
So that's on the $5 tier. And then we also have village or city building for $5, which again, pretty self-explanatory. Will just be able to, you have a fairly limited sort of amount of buildings and housing options that you can build on your island, but this would be more like upgrading that to be a bit more urban, to like, I think it's similar to, we've talked about this in the past, like being to similar to Animal Crossing New Leaf. I think that's what they do in that game.
Yeah, yeah, a bit more like that game. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's also $5, something like that, which would kind of shake up the whole theme of the game. But hey, maybe that's what we want. Do you want to
Yeah.
go through the $4?
Yeah, so at $4, the first one is, I guess, kind of similar, but let's step down to that, to what we were just saying about village and city building. But customizable buildings slash interiors of villager houses. So essentially, what you can do in the Happy Home Paradise DLC for New Horizons, but like integrating that properly into into the game. So like you can go to a villager's house and be like, I want to mess up the interior of your house, or like you could go to town hall or the museum and like just change like how it looks to how you want your aesthetic of your island or town to be. We also have jobs slash career paths, which that could really open up to like a lot of different possibilities. Maybe there are different jobs you can do around the island. Like obviously you're kind of a town planner, or like in New Leaf, you're like the mayor. But I think it would be interesting if you could do little other odd jobs, and take up different things, and maybe they give you different perks, or like uh,
Hmm.
what have you. So there's different options there. Cross save. So this was essentially be bringing over your village's items, designs, anything like that, from New Horizons into the new game. So you're not completely starting from scratch. And if there are certain villages that you have a really big attachment to, you could like bring them over, and basically like move them all over into this new thing. Because yeah, like Nintendo hasn't really done that before. So I think it'd be cool. Um, and then the last one with $4 tier, Nintendo themed villages. They kind of did this in New Leaf. There are some Zelda ones, like one based on Ganon, one based on Wolf Link. They haven't really done that since then. And there's been so much fan art of like, what if they made like a Pokemon Animal Crossing, or something like that. So I think just like more Nintendo themed villages based on those characters, like maybe like Fox from Star Fox, or yeah, like some more Zelda like characters or Pokemon. I think it'd be cool.
Yep, and then we have the $3 tier. So on this tier, we've got bringing Nintendo items back. So Tom, you were explaining this to me. It's kind of like back in the day, they would have items in the shop. Like they do have some now, like Mario themed items that you can purchase in the I can't remember what the shop is called, but you know the
Yeah,
ATM.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, they have more of those like that are themed into like broader Nintendo properties, like Zelda or Smash or Pokemon and things like that. Would be pretty
Mhm.
cool. Also for $3, we've got pets. So this would be it's kind of tricky with pets because you're like the villagers are animals, but you know what I
This is
mean.
the
Like this would be
yeah,
like
we
your
can figure it out.
Nintendogs,
Yeah,
like yeah, like to
yeah,
have a companion pet or something like that, that you can like feed and raise and have around your home. We've also got new villager personalities. So villagers in Animal Crossing all have different personalities, and you need to kind of gradually meet them all to unlock all the certain like reactions and interactions and things like that. So like just having a few more of those in the next game. And then lastly, we have the online furniture slash clothing marketplace, which means that you can put up items that you have or that you make for trade for other people to purchase.
yeah. And then we got on the $2 here. So these are more like smaller little additions to the game, basically. Bigger pockets. There's obviously like they increase the pockets like size for New Horizons, but it's always still too small.
It's never enough.
Um, yeah, it really never is. So let's raise that upper limit even more. I don't know how big they can get with it, but I think
What about a
just like
second
a
pocket?
oh, yeah, I mean that would be great. Like I think just the inventory system as a whole could get a really big revamp. So that would be great. Also on here, integrated time travel. Uh, Look, time traveling in Animal Crossing, it's a controversial thing. I know it's people so it's sacred sometimes where for people not to time travel. I'm not a person that time travels, but I think the notion of time traveling um there were points in New Horizons where I was like, I've done everything I can on a certain day. I just want to get to the next one, but I don't want to wait to the next day. So I think just putting it a system in the game would be uh, interesting. Whether it's like you have to pay like currency to do that or something. But
Yeah.
I think integrating it would smooth that process. Um, Vehicles is another one of the $2 here. We can talk about some of the possibilities maybe when we get to it, but like maybe get a bike, maybe get a scooter, maybe get a maybe you get a car. I don't know. There's like a lot of possibilities with
A
that.
buggy.
A
Yeah.
little buggy that'd be fun. And then yeah, on the last one, the $2 tier, just good online services. Then online was notoriously very difficult to navigate and just kind of unrefined in New Horizons. So it'd be nice if that was better in a potential new game.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's so slow. Oh my
Yeah, it
god.
just is
When you had to
painful.
wait, if you wanted four people to come to your island, you had to wait for each of them to arrive on the plane. You couldn't all come at once.
Terrible.
God, please fix that, Nintendo. And I like feel positive that now that they've introduced like game chat and all those things for Mario Kart World and things like that on the Nintendo Switch, you're like, this has to be something they're thinking about for Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, and then our last tier is the $1 tier. So we've just got a few like quality of life upgrades here. So batch crafting or bulk crafting. Right now, you can only craft one item at a time at your workbench. Even if it's the same thing and you want 10 of them, you have to sit there and click through 10 times. So it'd be nice if you could just be like, I want 5 of these. Here's all my resources. Please do it all at once. Um, a MP3 player so that you can like listen to music while you hang out on your island. That would be nice. Instead of like the Animal Crossing New Horizons background music is lovely, but yeah, I don't know about you. Most of the time, I'm just like I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to a podcast or some of my own music.
Yeah.
Um, quick load because, like I just mentioned before, things at Animal Crossing take a really long time to load. So if we could just like speed that up a bit, like I don't want to sit on the boat for half an hour while what's his name sings me sea shanties to get to the island. Like enough of that. And then lastly, on the $1 tier is more interactive objects because I found in Animal Crossing you can buy a lot of cool things, but you can't do a lot with them. Like, let me get
Mm.
in my pool. Let me like kick
Yeah.
this. think ball around. Like, let me do things with the items. So I would really hope they would do more of that. Like even eating food and stuff. Like they introduced cooking and stuff, but it
Hmm.
doesn't really. I don't know. It's not as satisfying. It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, they could definitely do more things with that, and even things like going to the Mario items, like they have the warp pipe, like you can use that to like transport like across your island. Other things like that, like functionality, like there's a lot of different ways you can go with that for sure.
So those are all the options that we've come up with in our tiers, and we're going to get $15 to spend basically any way that we want to build our dream game. So I haven't thought about how to tackle this. I'll be doing it on the fly. But Tom, do you
Yeah.
want to start?
Oh man, throwing me in the deep end. Yeah, let's do it. I have not thought about this either, and like, yeah, we were saying like before we started, like going through this is like, I want all of these things. Like these
Yeah,
sound like
honestly, we
great.
do.
Yeah, so arbitrarily making this more difficult for us is I mean that's what we do on this podcast, but
Yeah.
it's tough. Um I'm going to start by I think yeah, I'll start with the $5 here. I think I'm gonna go with new biomes and environments. I I just for me with Animal Crossing, like customization is always like the top of my priorities. I love designing my island. I love having so many different options. I loved when they um with the kind of with your house, like you can go into this mode where it's like top down and you can move your items and furniture around a lot easier. So like expanding the options you have is always a good thing in my eyes. I think um, new biomes and environments would just like do that for me. I think like there's so many different um, ideas of places you can go. Like I said, you could set it in like a volcano or like a snowy tundra. Maybe you're on an iceberg instead of like a proper island. Um, I think just shaking up the environment. I know like the seasonal aspect is quite
Mm.
a big thing with Animal Crossing, like the passing of time. But maybe I don't know. Maybe the volcano has like like some trees that spawn like at certain times of the year. Um, or even you could like have it. You could make different segments of your islands different biomes, where it's like one segment is like a desert themed area, and or one's like another thing because you get all these furniture items. Like you can get like a pyramid, for example, but it looks really strange when
Yeah.
you put it like in like just a grassy kind of area. I know there's like paths you can put down which are desert, but making that easier where you can change the environment and stuff, I think would just be a dream for me.
Yeah, I think so too. Or even have all Animal Crossing games been on islands?
So trying to think. I think New Horizons is probably the first. I mean, I think
Oh, okay.
New Leaf was like yeah, kind of a town vibe. Um, what is it called? Animal Crossing City Folk or Let's Go to the City is like a city. More so, but you're kind of there's like a city that you go to that you can't customize from what I recall, and then there's like a your own kind of thing that you can customize a little bit more. Then Wild World is also like a little town kind of vibe, and similar with the original Animal Crossing. So yeah, New Horizons is the first time where it's like just
Okay.
fully an island.
Yeah, well, I think if they want to stick to the island theme, like, yeah, having some different types of islands would be cool. And then maybe you can, like, if they fix the online, you can, like, go to other friends' islands who have different kinds of biomes and get stuff from there. And, or maybe
Yeah.
you unlock a second island or something like that. Or you unlock
Hmm.
portions of your island as you go. Like, just, yeah,
Yeah.
having a little bit. I think whatever they do next, it's going to have to be, like, bigger in some way. And so that would
Definitely.
be one way to do that. All right, I will go next. I think I'll also start with $5. Just get something that I really want out of the way, and I really want all of these things. I think I'm going to go with village or city building. Like when we've been talking
Yeah.
about what we want from an Animal Crossing game in the past, I've always said that it's this. I want to be able to do a bit of like urban planning, like have a bit more of a city center and a wider variety of buildings and shops and make it feel like it's a bit more of a bit more modern, I suppose. Like the island paradise is great. I love that. It would be just like nice to like build. Maybe you can like build a resort on your island, or just like have all these different elements. Like make me feel like I don't know. Like make me feel like I can go to the shops one day, and it's like a bit of a
Yeah.
journey to get there. And I don't know. I just think that would be cool to like opens up the world a lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think my one of my biggest complaints with New Horizons is that yeah, there's not that many buildings you can get. You have the museum, you have the clothes shop, the Able
Yeah.
Sisters shop. You have like Nook's Cranny, but then like there isn't much else. And like I think having other themed buildings, whether it's like they had in previous games like the hair salon. I know you can just kind of change that
Mm,
now in the game, which is a good quality of life thing. But things like that where you could just go and like just hang out, and especially for like um co-op wise and like having your friends over, just having more things that you can do. Maybe there's like an
yeah.
arcade that you could like have, and you could do
Yeah,
little
have mini
games with your
games.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be really fun. Um, um, and yeah, I think part of that village or city building thing would be like I mentioned with the house customization, being able to just like pick up buildings like top down and then move them where you want, rather than like having to like figure out how to do it, like, and then you realize that like, oh man, I've actually just like one space over and I
Oh
need
my
to
god.
move it back, and it's like, oh, it's just so frustrating. So
And you
like
have to pay like
having
10,000 coins to move it again.
exactly, it's so
It's so
annoying.
frustrating.
Yeah, so having more with that I think would just be amazing.
It's so frustrating. I
Yeah.
love the game so much, but there is so much about it that is just baffling to me. That
Yeah, it's
like,
so
why did
dumb.
you do this? Yeah. Okay, what are you gonna spend next?
Ugh. um maybe I'll just maybe just go down 5 4 3 2. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but I kind of want to go $4. These are
Okay,
all really good options. But I think the one that is calling to me is probably going to be Nintendo themed villages.
nice.
Um, and I think that's because I wish I could remember the name of the artist now, but there is an artist who specifically makes fan art, but it's like they create the 3D models of Pokemon villages, and they set them in in an Animal Crossing world, and they give them little dialogue, and it's like a whole little video and everything. But it looks so amazing to see these these Pokemon designs integrated in like an Animal Crossing setting. So my dream would change. Animal Crossing's no more; it's Pokemon Crossing now, essentially. So you have like all these different Pokemon. You have Charizard, you have Quagsire, you have Arceus, and they're now like a cute little villager on your thing. Obviously, like with Nintendo themed villages, I think there are many different like characters that could easily make their way into the Animal Crossing universe and do it in a way where you can like not break it completely. But I just think like Animal Crossing like has kind of moved away from its Nintendo like integration almost. Like they used to have a lot, like we are kind of mentioning in New Leaf, you had these fortune cookies and you could like eat them, and then you get like a Nintendo themed item. Or even I think in the original Animal Crossing, you could play like a bunch of NES games. But they kind
Mm.
of moved away with that, and I think this would be kind of a way of like uh, going back to that. Like, okay, you have these little references here of like different Nintendo characters and stuff.
I think it's cool. Like, and it makes to helps to build that like Nintendo universe, which it's always. I think Nintendo's always been more open to that than many of Xbox or PlayStation, and like this is a big one big family under this studio, and so it's
Mhm.
kind of cool to be able to like have that crossover into a lot of the games that you're playing. So I think it would be cool. It'd be really interesting to see what they do with like this new generation, I guess, of games that they've released too. Like they've had like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and new Pokemon games and new Mario games since the like previous Animal Crossings, like before New Horizons.
Yeah, and even like Splatoon, like that
Yeah,
IP, like you can get like some Octo. I think they might have done some Splatoon themed, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. I mean, bring them back, but also like yeah, you have the Octolings, the Inklings, get some Squid and Octopus villages in the game. Like I think that'd be really cool.
all right. I think I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna go with the next thing that I know I really want in the game,
Yeah.
which is actually on a $3 tier. I really want pets. I just really want a little guy to look after. So Yeah, I know that in previous like sort of life sim games that I played, like in The Sims, I always bought the pets expansion because, yeah, like my family after like we had a dog and like after my dog died when I was really young, we didn't have a pet for ages, and all my friends did, and so I just always gravitated towards having on like digital pets and things like that. So I've like really found myself gravitating towards games that offer those options over the years. And so I think having yeah, like a pet in Animal Crossing would be really fun. Just someone that you can like a little guy that you can like feed and take for walks and like play catch with, and like that's part of your day, like part of your tasks
Yeah.
for the day. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think this is like I don't know how they would do it, but I think it would be great. I would love a little just fella just follow me around. Like when you get into it, it's like it becomes a think like we might have mentioned this on the show even. Like I think it's like a Goofy and Pluto situation where it's like
Yeah, yeah.
he's a dog, but the pet's a dog. Like what's going on here? I wonder if there's a way. I mean, like Animal Crossing in a lot of ways, it's anthropomorphized animals, but like they haven't really veered into like their own kind of like creatures or whatever. But I wonder if like going to another game that I talk about a lot on this podcast, Club Penguin, you have like the
Yes,
Puffles.
Puffles.
Like, what if they just created their own little
Totally.
dudes? Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. Like just following around and you make these little cute little guys. Yeah, I honestly love this idea. Like, I really hope they do this in some fashion. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, or like I don't know, like that's kind of an Animal Crossing, like a Tamagotchi style little
Hmm.
mix up guy. But like Pokemon even, like, oh, can you imagine if your pets were Pokemon?
Oh my god. Like,
It
yeah,
would
bring
never
that
happen. It
idea
would
in.
never happen, but
Oh,
it would be
it
so
wouldn't.
cool.
It would actually be so sick. Yeah, Pokemon Crossing. I'm saying it has to happen. Like they have to make
Pokemon
it happen.
Crossing,
Come on.
that would be really, really fun. Really
Yeah,
fun. Okay, yeah, so I'll spend $3 on pets. Where are you going next?
nice. I don't know. I think I'll just keep going down. I think I'll just keep going
Okay,
down $3. Um, I'm gonna go with. I think I have to go with new villager personalities. Um,
okay.
so if you're not aware, dear listener, in Animal Crossing at the moment, there are 8 distinct personalities. I'm not going to name them all here because I don't remember them off the top of my head, but there are 8, and on your island you can have up to 10 villagers at the moment. Maybe they'll increase that number in the future game. I'm surprised we actually didn't mention that on here. Like that makes sense to have more villagers. But anyway, um,
Yeah, of
uh, but
course.
but my point is that like if you have 8 villagers, or if you have 10 villagers on your island, you're gonna have duplicates of at least 2 like personalities if you have one of each personality already. And
Mm.
that results in sometimes those villagers have the exact same dialogue as each other and they just kind of blend into one another. I mean, I know there's other aspects of their personality sometimes, like they'll have different like favorite items or things like that. But I think introducing like a new personality that will like um just vary what these villagers say essentially. Like I would love if there was like an anxious villager and they were just like really nervous all the time. Or like I don't know, maybe like a I'm trying to think of personalities. I can't think of it. Just something else that just shakes up the formula. Maybe there's like an evil villager. I don't know, like just a really asshole type of villager. I guess that's like the cranky villager type that they have, but just go even further down that path. But I think just like what I'm basically asking for is more dialogue and making the dialogue a bit more engaging. I guess,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's what I want.
It is another one of those baffling decisions where it's like, yeah, I can have 10 homes on my island, but there's only 8 personalities. Like, why wouldn't you just have, you can only have 8 homes on your, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Just weird. Yeah, to be honest, I'm like, New Horizons was my first Animal Crossing game, so I was like learning about so many new things. And I was like, I just invited anybody to come to my island. I didn't realize that they all had different temperaments and
Yeah.
unlocked certain things. But yeah, that's not always the thing that I pay attention to in Animal Crossing. But I think that would make sense, is to have some new personalities, some new, even just like new villager faces, like we've talked about Nintendo themed ones,
Mm.
but just like having a wider variety of them. All right, I'm gonna go. I actually think. I'm gonna go backwards
Okay.
and spend another 5, which
Oh,
I know. Or am I gonna spend 4? No, I think I'll spend 5. I think I
nice.
wanna do the romance slash friendship options
Ooh, okay.
because
Yeah.
at this point, like, my villagers, I don't care about them at all. Like, they're there on my island. They are super annoying when they wanna come over unannounced. They always have problems and issues, and I'm like, "But I just don't get anything from you except, like, reactions occasionally." Like, I don't
Yeah.
have any like, tangible reason to pay attention to you. You're just hogging my island at this point, you freeloaders.
Yeah.
Like, none of you are paying off Tom Nook. Um, in fact, I'm often paying for you to do things and move your houses and this and that. So yeah, to have I think like a bit of more of a deeper connection with the villagers on the island or even the other characters who come by and stuff, um, in some kind of like gameplay pathway, I think would be really cool. Like whether it is just being able to like do more with them as well, like being like, okay, can we all come over and do coffee or at the roost or whatever it's called? What's it
Hmm.
called?
Yeah. Yeah. The roost. Yeah, they're right.
Yeah. Or like let's all go to like this pool that I just built or something like that. Like just having like more interactivity with them and like which I think would be unlocked via having like, like a best friends with like certain villages or something like that. Like ticking off achievements that give you like unlocks like more interactivity with them. So yeah, I think that would be like a way more engaging way to get me to care about my villages than the current method. Yeah, and I don't think it needs to like necessarily dip into like the romance side of things, but I think just having like more yeah, like paths to connection with the people on your island.
Yeah, I mean they host weddings on the island, so maybe that is the thing they could do, I guess. But
Sure.
um, it's possible. But yeah, I do really like this idea. Like I think um the only like tangible thing I can think of, like I think it is in New Horizons, but it's definitely in New Leaf where if you build up your friendship with a villager enough, by basically just like talking to them every day, like giving them items and that sort of thing, you get like a picture frame of them, and it's like one of the most exclusive items you can get from a villager. But like even that doesn't feel like it feels like there's more potential, and like a lot of the things
Yeah.
you're saying I think like makes a lot of sense. I think like maybe they could do it a thing where like you build up your friendship with a villager enough, it's like, okay, hey, can you like, I don't know, could you pick up the weeds from the island for me, or can you do this other task for me?
Yes, give them
um
tasks.
like things like that. It becomes you're basically turning Animal Crossing into Cult of the Lamb essentially, which
Which
I
I
think
love.
is, yeah, which is great. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I
But
just
yeah,
like,
like let them help.
yeah, honestly, because yeah, like you said, at the moment they kind of just sit around. Maybe they'll do little zoomies around the town plaza now every
Freeloaders.
now and again. Yeah, like come on, like what are we doing here? Um, but yeah, even like non uh functional things, like having them be able to hang out like at a pool or like hang out on this like installation that you make. I think there are just so many possibilities of like, yeah, building up that friendship with these characters and getting like, yeah, more tangible unlocks with that. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, having like more rewards for actually interacting with them, making you want to interact with them.
Hmm.
I think that's like definitely needed.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm rapidly running out of money, so where are you going next?
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you that's a bold pick that you did. I think I'm just gonna keep going down the list. I think I'll go the $2 tier. When you mentioned it, I didn't even think about it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I think vehicles would be so sick.
It
Like,
would be
I
fun.
think it'd be so fun. Um, like I said, I don't know if it'd be a car. I don't know if the idea of like running over my villagers or like bumping into them is great. Um, but like a little, like, yeah, like a little scooter or a dune buggy or
Yeah,
like a
skateboard.
hoverboard,
Yeah.
skateboard, yeah. Something like that, or even like a surfboard. Like I know you can um
Oh, that would be so
l-
cool.
I think there's so many options with that. Like you can, yeah, I know you can like dive
A
into the
jet
water.
ski?
A jet ski, like this, that'd be so cool. And that would obviously like kind of tying in with like the co-op stuff. Like that gives you just more. They could give you more options with like friends. You could do little races, and that sort of thing. Um, and yeah, again, like if they're I'm assuming like in the next Animal Crossing they're going to expand the island. Like it'd be kind of a shame if they didn't or made it
Yeah.
smaller, for example. But like yeah, I think having vehicles to navigate the island a bit better and get from one place to another. Um, I just think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe add a pogo stick. I don't know. I just there's so
Yeah.
many different things you could
A
do. I think
jetpack.
it's a great idea.
There's so many
Yeah,
options.
honestly, yeah, I think this is a good idea. So I'm picking this one.
I love that. Yeah, I think yeah, I think I would definitely pick that as well if I had the money. But yeah, like I think you're right. If the game is only going to get bigger in certain ways, I think it makes sense to like add a little bit more mobility because right now you can kind of just walk or run, and those are your two options. And it's not like a huge area, so it doesn't matter. But I think if the possibility to expand further in terms of like area, surface area, and terrain, even like could require vehicles. And I don't think it would be that difficult if we're talking like, like a scooter or a skateboard or something small. I don't know about cars. That would
Yeah,
really depend on if like you did like the city vibe.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
just having or like I think, yeah, being able to like go out on a boat into the
mm.
water and go a little bit further than you normally would as just swimming, like
Yeah.
that would be really cool.
Yeah, that could like yeah, if you could take a boat out and maybe there's more fishing options like as you go
Yeah.
through or
Like deep sea
um
fishing.
yeah, exactly. Or like I know you in the game at the moment like Cap'n has his boat that you go on.
Mm.
But like it would be nice if you could just take your own and like you can visit other islands and like if you sail far enough or something like that. Yeah, there's just a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
different things you could explore with that. Maybe there's a hot air balloon and you can fly up into the sky.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
cool.
know.
Yeah, or like a paraglider.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
Yeah, you
things.
definitely want all 3 tiers. You'd want, like, a water vehicle, a land vehicle, and, like, some kinda aerial vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, paragliding across. Oh my god, like just turning Animal Crossing to Zelda, like that'd be so sick.
Yes. So
Yeah.
cool. Okay, I have $2 left.
Hmm.
So, I am going this is difficult. It's like I could do 1 $2 or 2 $1.
Mm.
I think I might go with 2 $1.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because really I think on the $2 tier, what I would really want is vehicles, and you've already covered that. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I might go with more interactive objects is definitely something that I want.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many cool items in Animal Crossing, but not just. It's frustrating when you do these things and then you be like, it's just for show. Like I can't do
Yeah.
anything with it. Like I want to be able to like go swimming in my pool or like go down this slide or like pull water up from the well and all these kinds of things. Like just have a little bit of added interactivity to like most of the items in the game.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, there's like a bunch of fairground like items you can get, like a merry-go-round and a Ferris wheel, and the fact that you can't like ride them is insane to
Yeah.
me. Like, why is that not an option? There's so many different things in Animal Crossing. Them like like as mentioned, customization is like the biggest thing for me. And it's I love making things look pretty, but like the fact that I go to like my campsite area and all I can really do is like sit on a log and be like, okay, and I'm just sitting here and that's all I can do.
Yeah, can't
Um,
like toast marshmallows or but like
yeah,
sometimes others in like your villagers can do those things, but you
yeah,
can't.
exactly. Like I don't know why that isn't an option to the player. Especially again going back to the co-op thing. Like if you like wanted to do this like role play situation where you're camping and yeah you could like bring out your marshmallows and I think that would be like a lot of fun. So yeah, it is a shame that you can't. You can obviously like go up to certain objects and like the mechs that you can get or whatever, and they'll like shoot a bunch of lights and stuff like that. But the fact that you can't actually tangibly do anything to all of these things is yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Like aside from like if you just want to sit on something, but there's also like other things like um those like horse playground items that like even those things like you can't even sit on that like
Yeah.
it's weird that certain objects they're not all treated equally essentially is what I'm trying to say
Like you
so
can't even turn the TV on in your house.
yeah.
Um, it's just small things, you know. I like that you can play the record player, but it's like let me
Mm.
put on Animal Crossing Netflix or whatever is on, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I have a film projector. Like why can't I like pick what's going to be screened? Like yeah.
Mm.
Just I think even just like one small thing that every object can do, like it's possible.
Yeah, no, definitely.
A lot of work on the developers. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
yeah, so much work. But they can take their time and make it happen. Like I think I'm willing to wait for that sort of thing. I think it'd be worth it.
yeah. All right, you've got $1 left. What are you going to do with it?
$1. Um, I guess I have to pick on the $1 tier. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the MP3 player.
Nice.
And this is mostly spurred on by Mario Kart World. Like the soundtrack in Mario Kart World is like so good. Like it's they bring so many different tracks from past games and remix them and whatever. But when you're in the open world, there's no option to select what track is playing. It just kind of goes. You listen to a radio station essentially, which is fine because then you like there are so many different music tracks that like I wouldn't have picked necessarily, but like sound amazing. Um, but I think at a certain point with Animal Crossing, there are some like KK Slider tracks or like
Yeah.
even different times of days that I'm like I just want to listen to this song now. I don't want to necessarily listen to this. Um, so just having like a portable thing where you could choose, or even like integrating different Nintendo music, put in some Mario music, put in some Zelda music, Pokemon
Well,
music.
they have the
Um,
Nintendo Music app now.
integrate that. Honestly, that's such a great idea. Like, why does yeah put that in the game? I think that would be great. Obviously, I don't think this is going to be like. I don't think they're going to Spotify. I don't think you're going to be able to
No.
listen to Chapel Roan while you're playing it. I mean, you can like if you just put it on your actual phone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think like um, I really do like the New Horizons soundtrack. I think it's great. But I think I do, and I think a lot of players agree. I think the New Leaf music is what a lot of people really loved. So even just having that option of like, I'm just gonna listen to the New Leaf soundtrack and have that play at the different times of day or whatever. But I just like different options, and I think choosing the music is it would just be a really cool thing to do.
I agree with you, particularly when they have like a dedicated system of you buying records that you can play on your record player and like pick the song and stuff like that. Why wouldn't you like have that continue into like having a Walkman or something like that
Yeah,
as you roam around? Like it seems like such a simple thing to introduce.
yeah, I don't think it would take much effort on. I mean, I'm not a game developer. Anytime I say that, I'm like, I'm not a game developer. I
Yeah,
don't know how hard that is, but I think that is a feasible thing that they could put in the game for sure.
I agree. All right, I am going to pick for my last $1. I would like either of these things, to be honest. Which would make my life better? I think probably quick loading
Yeah,
it's more applicable to many areas versus just batch crafting. So I think yeah, the quick loading like it just takes too long to load right now. I'm curious, have you played Animal Crossing on the Switch too?
yes, I have, and
Is it any faster?
it is better. It's still there though. So
Okay,
I think it would be nice if it's like in the new one, if they could figure out how to make it a lot more instantaneous, where it's like a kind of PS5 situation. I don't know if they can achieve
totally.
that, but like where yeah, you just walk into a room and you're instantly there. You fly to someone's island and it doesn't take any time at all. So yeah, I think this definitely needs to be improved in the next game because it's very frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It shouldn't in this day and age when we are accustomed to quick loading on like Xbox and PlayStation, it shouldn't it's not that it shouldn't be there at all. It just shouldn't be taking this long. Like I think
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing it this week just to refamiliarize myself. And like, I just start the game and then I like walk off and do something because it takes so long to load the actual game in your initial island
Yeah.
that I don't know, it's kind of a turn off when you're impatient
Mm.
and you've got all these things and these tasks to do that you have to like constantly wait a bit of time here and there. We're all time poor these days, Nintendo, so please don't make us wait.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like you could do what a Zelda does and put like little tips and stuff in the load times, but like that's not enough. I want to see when I walk into my villager's house, I want to see him instantly. I don't want to wait like 5, 10 seconds until I could see his face. Like
Particularly
it
if you
shouldn't be
like
like that.
leave by accident, like you're like, oh, I
Yeah,
need to go back and get that thing. You're like, oh, now I've got to wait again. Like
yeah,
it
it's
really
like
turns it off, turns you off
yeah,
doing it.
it is frustrating. But yeah, I think this is I don't want to say it's definitely something that will be addressed in the new game. I'd like to hope that it is one of the things that they actively look at.
Yeah.
Um, and I hope with the Switch 2's power that like this is possible. At this point.
All right. Tom, tell us your dream Animal Crossing game.
Yeah, so my dream Animal Crossing game would include new biomes slash environments, Nintendo themed villages, new villager personalities, vehicles, and a portable MP3 player.
And my dream Animal Crossing game has village and city building, friendship or romance options, pets, and more interactive items and quick loading. And that's it. That's how we spent $15. But if you, the listener or watcher, would like to weigh in on this, we will upload the graphic with our selections here and you can go through and tell us what you would want to see in your dream Animal Crossing game. How are you spending your money? What are the ideal things that you want to see? So we'll have that up on the socials very soon for you to do. Before we finish up today, we'll go through our regular what have we been playing. So, Tom, I know you've had an exciting event that you teed up earlier in the show. Tell us about the Death Stranding 2 event.
Yes, so I was very lucky enough to go to this Death Stranding 2 event. And you know what? I wouldn't have gone if not for Lauren Rouse herself, because I didn't know this event was happening. But Lauren messaged me and was like, "Are you going to this?" And I'm like, "I didn't know it was happening. I guess I have to go." So thank you, Lauren, for putting me on this
No, I'm
event.
glad you
Like,
could go.
yeah, it was great timing because the tickets were still available, and I was like, sure. So yeah, essentially what I went to was this Death Stranding 2 kind of launch event that was happening in London. It was, after the game had launched already, so some people in the audience had already had their chance to play the game. But it's basically just celebrating the game, and some special guests were there. Jeff Keighley, our boy, host creator of the Game Awards, was kind of in the host chair again, and he was kind of guiding us along. So it was very, very surreal to have seen Jeff, at these, live streams and events, and to see him in the flesh was like, oh my god, this is wild. But then, of course, the main man, Hideo Kojima, came out, and he was great. Honestly, like I have kind of really adored him from afar. His games and just him online, but he's a funny guy. Like he has his translator with him, so he'll speak in Japanese, and then his translator will kind of translate back. But he's like telling jokes, and when he first came out on stage, he like just said to the audience, "I love you," like, and everyone cheered. It was just really sweet. Um, so it was just really insightful to hear them talk about all these different facets of Death Stranding 2 and hearing the response, and that was really cool. But he had some special guests, which was
Okay.
pretty crazy. On the event itself, the only special guest that was listed was Caroline Polachek, um, who did a song for the game on the beach, and she was there and performed the song live.
Wow.
It's a crazy song,
Nice.
but it sounded amazing. Like the production of everything sounded really cool, and they talked about her contributions to the game and how they worked together to work on and create this song. So that was amazing. But she wasn't the only one. Norman Reedus and Leia Seydoux also showed up,
Oh,
who play
cool.
Sam Porter Bridges and Fragile, respectively. And I was just kind of blown away. It's funny because like I've never really seen Norman Reedus do like interviews before. Um,
Mm.
but like Sam is quite like like an understated character. He's quite like he doesn't he doesn't say a lot, and he's kind of he speaks when he needs to. Norman Reedus is like the complete opposite. He's like this goofy, really fun guy. I'm like surprised that like he can play these like really tough characters on like The Walking Dead, because he just seems like a really nice chap. But yeah, the way him and Leia talked about the game was just really it was really interesting hearing their experiences, like doing motion capture and that sort of stuff. Was really cool. But then the last special guest or guests um, were churches or churches, or I guess however it's
Churches.
stylized.
Churches. Yeah.
The band, and they were there and they performed as well. They performed their song, which is also called Death Stranding, which was for the first game.
Mm.
Um,
That was a good song.
and it's yeah, it sounded amazing live. They did such a good job, and it was also really interesting to hear them, talk with Kojima about that process, and the fact that they're in Death Stranding 2 as like physical like character models.
Oh,
Um,
wild.
so and it's like a weird like apparently they run like a farm or something in the game. I haven't
Oh,
played
that's
Death Stranding
awesome.
2, which is so cool. Like I think it's really sick. So it's really cool to see them. They also gave a special shout out to Low Raw, who contributed music to the first game, and his music is also in Death Stranding 2. Sadly, he passed away before the release of Death Stranding 2, but it was just nice to, they gave a special shout out. And that music is so, like, it's so important to that first game, and it creates such a vibe. So it was really nice for them to kind of shout that out. But yeah, like, it was just an amazing time. It was weird because it was like the venue itself, we were all like standing, like it wasn't a seated event.
Oh,
Um, so I was kind of like looking over people's heads, but and also like
okay.
while we were waiting for people for them to come on, someone was opening like Pokemon packs on Pokemon TCG Pocket, to to try to keep the audience entertained. But no, it was
That's
like
fun.
it was crazy. Like it was a crazy event. And yeah, again, thank you for like telling me about it. I think
No,
it
of
was so
course.
worth it. It was so
Did
worth
you
it.
learn anything interesting about the game?
I mean, I learned that I really want to play it. Like, it
Sure.
everything they showed just looks like such an improvement. I don't think there's anything they kind of said that wasn't like, uh, isn't like earth shattering. They talked a
Okay.
lot about like their kind of dinners that they would have after they did their motion capture. I think Lea Seydoux like mentioned how Kojima would take them to these like really nice sushi places, and then they would talk about like Kojima's very like cinema oriented. He loves movies and stuff, so they would talk a lot about movies and this sort of thing. So that was really nice. Um, but yeah, it was interesting, like hearing the process, I guess, with like Caroline. Like it sounds like the song came together very quickly. Like she basically had the month to kind of put it together, and then like it was just like that. And she reached out to him, which I thought was like an interesting thing. And apparently he ghosted her. Like he didn't. He ignored the initial message. So I'm glad they managed to work it out, and I'm glad that they were able to collaborate. And yeah, I just can't wait to play Death Stranding 2. I still haven't finished the first game yet. I'm still very early on, but when I get to Death
Have you
Stranding
been
2,
playing more of that this week?
not this week, unfortunately. Like I
Okay.
just haven't had time. But I definitely will. Like it's just really special. I feel like it's a really special game, and Death Stranding 2 seems like it is as well. So yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, well, I know we talked about it last week with the reviews coming out, but the more I hear about this game, the more I'm like, that just sounds too cool to ignore. Like, I think I
Yeah,
have to see it for myself. It'll be my first Kojima game because I obviously haven't played Metal Gear or any of those.
yeah.
So I will get it eventually, but right now is not the time. I don't have time to sink 50 hours into that. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Um, that's very cool. But as for me, I really haven't been playing much this week. It's been a big like movie and TV week for me. I've just been seeing like, yeah, I saw like Jurassic World. I saw another movie that I can't remember the name of, but I definitely saw another movie.
Okay.
And yeah, watching a lot of TV. Like there's been a lot of releases this week, so I'm just trying to stay on top of that. But hoping
Mhm.
to get back into something new now that Doom is done.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a bit of Animal Crossing. I had some time with that this week just to like remind myself before we got into the draft this week. So that's what we've been playing. Do we have any comments from this week, Tom?
Yeah, we just have one comment here. Let me just pull it up. On our Warner Brothers discussion, Warner Brothers
Mm.
changing its strategy and that sort of thing. And the comment we got is from at Almost Zen TV, and they say, "I love this crew. Good vibes." So thank you very much for the comment. It really means a lot. And yeah,
That's so
that's it.
nice.
If you want to send us any comments our way, feel free to send them our way. We'll read them out on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, please comment your this week. Please comment what your dream Animal Crossing game is. Use our grid and tell us your choices because or if you have any other suggestions for what we could have included on the grid, that's great too.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
like value would you assign it? What would you build? We're interested to hear it. And then lastly, before we get up here, we are doing New Game Plus this week. We're a little bit delayed just because of some scheduling issues, but we're still playing Sly 2 Band of Thieves. One of my favorite games ever. I cannot wait to discuss it on the show. How are you going with it, Tom? Are you close to
I
the end?
have, yeah, I'm pretty close. I just have 2 episodes left, so about I guess
Okay.
about 4 hours left. So yeah, I'll definitely have finished it by the time we talk about it. But yeah, I'm almost done.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I've finished it like 1,000 times over, so I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Yeah.
All right, that does it. So, you can follow the show at Controller Club Pod on Instagram and Blue Sky, or at Controller_Club on Twitter and Controller.club on TikTok. Also, we're now on YouTube, and you can watch a video version of the podcast and on our YouTube channel at Controller_Club to watch the latest episodes and our segments and clips that we post as well. Please rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, and send in any questions, topic ideas, or just comments or queries to controllerclubpod@gmail.com. And Tom, where can the people find you on the internet and anything you want to promote this week?
Yeah, you can find me at Tom Drouart, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, basically everywhere on the internet. Yeah, if you want to see that moment where Kojima told us that he loves us, I posted the video of that on my Blue Sky, so check that out there. I've got some articles, if they're not posted already, in the works. At thedirect.com. So if you want to read some of that, you can. I also posted this really stupid video on my personal YouTube channel at Tomtastic. If you want to, it's just a Marvel Rivals edit that's made to look like basically one of those like really dumb Call of Duty like 360 no scope videos where it's like this crazy edgy music playing as you do like a really sick thing. It's dumb. But if you want to see that, Tomtastic on YouTube, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, not dumb enough to promote, apparently.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
not.
You can follow me at lrouse19 on the internet. That's Rouse spelled as in house. This week, I kind of have something to promote. It's not really video game or work adjacent, but I did work on a short film here in Vancouver in the Run and Gun Festival. And our film, which is called Our Friend Chris, got into the top 20 of the show. So we had a screening this week for the finals and got to see it on the big screen. And it was like such a cool experience. But now that that's happened, the film is online. So if you are interested, you can go find it at I think it's on the Run and Gun YouTube page. It's in like the top 20 screening list. It's just like a big block of all the films, and they're all really great. Like all the films that I saw yesterday were fantastic. So they're all well worth a watch, but ours is in there as well. So you can go check that out if you're so inclined. And also our third co-host, who is not here this week, is Kleinfeld, and you can follow him at the Kleinfeld on all the socials. So that's it for Control Club this week. Thanks so much for listening. Now let's get gaming.